What feels rude but actually isn't. Yeah, since I've been working from home because of COVID, I'm constantly getting IMs at about 25 past 5 for a quick call that I know will be an hour long, or asking one of us to have a look at a bug that just came in because politically it looks much better to get the bug fixed tonight than first thing tomorrow morning. I just turn my laptop off when I see them. I work remotely part-time for one of my jobs. They act like I should be available 24/7. I shouldn't have to make an excuse, but I often find myself saying "ooh sorry, I was called into my other job at that time," instead of being honest and saying honestly I'm not on call just because I'm hourly and remote. I try telling them at the initial consult, I'm not a therapist and they'll charge you less an hour. But it still takes until the first bill for it to sink in. Or my other favorite is when they send you a ton of social media posts of the opposing party with their new girlfriend or with a drink in their hand, then get frustrated when you tell them that they won't make a difference, at all, and you just wasted an hour of everyone's time by making me go through each post/picture one by one. I work in an elder clinic and we have to remind them that even though they aren't getting billed, they are preventing us from helping them and others by tying up our phones. It works for the phone call, but they always call again the next week. I honestly think some of them spend a dedicated amount of time coming up with questions for them to call and ask about, and that's how they hook us into being stuck on the phone for longer than we need to. It'll start with "do I need this?" or "do you need me to send you this for my case?" and then it'll segue into "yeah well you know my son/daughter/grandkids whatever blah blah," and it can get hard to politely get them back on track or off the phone. I tried calling out once and was told to come in. I'd been vomiting all morning. Couldn't get it to stop. So I drove at work. Driving 20 minutes, I had to pull over twice to puke. I get to the office, and I tell the boss, and he insists I get to work. In my office, I puke in the trash can 3 times in an hour. He calls me into his office to assign me some project. It's going good. I feel somewhat better. I go over to his desk to retrieve some papers. And proceed to vomit all over his desk/suit. He screams at me. Threatens to fire me. And I told him I fucking told you I was sick and vomiting all morning. After he calmed down, he agreed that he handled it wrong. We both went home early, though he went back. I got 5 days off to recover. I felt better almost immediately after puking in his office, so I enjoyed the paid time off. Who are these piece of shit humans who think "suck it up and come in anyway" is an appropriate response to someone telling you they're sick? A. If you don't trust your employee and think they're faking it, you suck at hiring and should get someone you do trust instead. B. If you legitimately don't care, you're a sociopath and have no business managing people. Being honest with someone about their abilities. There's a way to do it without being rude. I spent 2 years studying a craft in a very competitive field, and toward the end of the first year I started to fall behind and my instructors started to give me polite responses instead of actual feedback. So I followed him to his office one day and said, "I feel like I'm getting shrugged off. I know I'm not going as well as others, but lay it on me." He didn't want to because these are people's lifelong dreams and it's hard to crush people's spirits. But he laid it all on the line, said I'm going hang on for a while and fizzle out within a couple of years. I asked for specifics, he hit back even harder. I didn't take it hard, and in fact I was excited because I was going to fail anyway before he was brutally honest, but now I had specifics to work on and improve on. A couple years later we were talking and he said, "You know, I was wrong about you," and I got to say, "No, you were so right. And if you hadn't told me all of that, I wouldn't have worked on it." Because of his honesty I had 2 choices that were better than the path I was on. Either find something else to do with my life, or hone in on my shortcomings and work tirelessly on them, and if it hasn't gotten better a year from now then I can find something else to do with my life. I got better over that year and now work in the field I'd started my studies in. That definitely wouldn't have been the case if that instructor had kept being polite and never gave it to me straight. You gotta be honest with people you know. Not in a mean way, not fully unsolicited. But if you're not honest with something people are trying to get good at or pursue a career in, you're setting them up for failure by not pointing out weaknesses they can fix or by accidentally encouraging them to go down a path that leads to a dead end. When you're at a craft fair, a farmer's market, or some other outdoor event where people have a bunch of tables set up to sell their wares, go up to a table to check out what they're selling, and walk away. Either you don't like what they have, or they're selling their nice soaps for way too much money. They are looking at you this whole time with this happy, expectant look on their face, like this is it, I'm going to get a sale. Or worse, when you ask them what they're all about, and they go into this long pitch about their thing, only for you to realize that you're not interested. I always feel like a complete asshole for going, "Yeah. Well, okay. Bye." I once knew a lady who made hand-woven baskets. They were pretty, but obviously horribly constructed for any actual use. Like, The holes were too big for candy, the weave was too weak for bigger things, etc. I had the gall to ask her what you could use them for, and she made a face like I'd insulted her ancestors as she told me they were literally just to look at. They were also $80 baskets, so yeah. I have respect for basket weaving as a difficult craft, but making them totally useless and not all that great, then charging insane prices? Pass. I was at a farmer's market and there was an olive oil stand, so I thought cool, I'll get some nice organic stuff, I'm so cool and healthy. So I made the mistake of asking for suggestions. The guy proceeds to pour some shot glasses of olive oil for me to try. I hadn't had breakfast, I was hungover, and had to take shots of some dang strong olive oils, and be like, that one sure. Olive oily. I'll take it. Yeah, that one please, just thank you, goodbye. And then I ran off to gag with an oily greasy mouth. My so and I are both very strange people, and we both have the rule that we can say this and it won't cause any offense because we both suck at expressing ourselves. We both tend to go from upset and sad to angry and defensive. But we do have the 3-question rule. 1. Is there anything I can do or get you? 2. Do you want to eat dinner alone? 3. Will you be sleeping in the guest room? As a terrible nerd, I have a binary system based on yes or no. N. I'm in trouble. Ian, they have something that's stressing them that they want to resolve. YNN, they're just busy or want to spend some time alone. NNY, they're mega busy with work or their hobby. Ian, they're fine and probably playing a game. NNN, they just watched the latest episode of a show without me even though we promised to watch every episode together. Rejecting kiosk workers feels rude, but I digress. I went to a mall and I have really big, thick hair. One girl asked me if I ever straighten it and I said no, and she was like, well, this straightener is easy, less damaging, let me try it on you. And I said no thanks, and then she's like, come on, I insist. And I was like, no fucking thank you. Then like an hour later I walked by the same kiosk again and a different guy was working and asked to try the straightener on my hair and I said no, and he asked why not and I said because I don't like straightening my hair. He's like, well, this is not time consuming. And I got really mad and kinda yelled, I'm not buying a hair straightener from you. My mother is getting older and also has she gets overwhelmed in large crowds and can't hear very well. We were recently at the airport returning home after seeing my sister and nephews. The airport was crowded and packed and I'm basically the one who takes charge and tells her where we need to go and to just follow me. She wants me to do this BTW. So we get off the plane and this woman at a perfume kiosk comes up to my disoriented mother and asks her if she wants to smell some perfume. I quickly, yet politely say to the woman, we are good, she's good, thank you though. And the woman gives me the stare of death and says she can talk for herself, let her decide. I gave her a look back and just kept walking and my mom was like, what did that woman want? Why did she look at you so mean? I explained to her and she said, oh, I didn't even understand, thank you for handling that. Yes, my mother is capable of making her own decisions, but I know that my mom doesn't want to be bothered with a perfume saleswoman, and is already overwhelmed and disoriented and uncomfortable. Like, back off lady. You don't know our situation. I couldn't believe that she barked at me like that. Those mall kiosks have traumatized me for life ever since this one time when I was a teenager. I was walking through the mall with a friend not even paying attention, made passing eye contact with a guy working at one and he grabbed my hand as I was walking by and put moisturizer on it before I could do or say anything and started on his spiel about the stuff he was trying to sell, and being the shy, awkward teenager I was, I didn't know what to do, so I let him moisturize my hand, finish his spiel, said no thank you and walked away as quickly as possible. Ever since then I scurry past these places with my hands tucked in close to my body or in a pocket in fear of it happening again. Don't touch me without asking. I've hit the point where when I am accosted in such a situation, and I have a minute, I'll say, I'll listen to your pitch, and tell you what I think about it, but I absolutely guarantee you will not make a sale. About half the time, I get a thanks, no thanks. The other half I spend half an hour or so listening to the pitch, saying no, offering my criticisms on it. When inevitably asked why it didn't work on me, I reply because I'm not interested in making a purchase. Twice I've been yelled at for wasting time. Smile. Telling people what you want as far as your boundaries. I really don't like being touched. Please don't touch me. I prefer not to text a lot during work hours. I don't like making last-minute plans. Next time please let's set up plans ahead of time. I don't think we really click. I don't think this is working. But standing up for your boundaries encourages people to stand up for theirs, too. Not continuing the pay it forward at drive-thrus. It's happened several times to me, and I've always reciprocated. I've hit a financially rough time, and I'm working 6 days a week starting at 5:30. If I miss a coffee the rest of my morning will feel like hell, even though I'm pushing my budget to get one. The cashier told me my coffee was paid for already, so I left a small tip, and went about my way. I'll pay it later when circumstances are better. For a long time it didn't occur to me that you were supposed to do that. And to me it feels like it kinda defeats the point. Like now we're all still paying for our stuff, but the price is gonna be a mystery? Nah, I just graciously accept my free thing and then pay it forward to someone else, somewhere else. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't feel bad. Had my honeymoon last December, and I upgraded our seats for the long flight. Of course, this includes higher boarding priority than coach, which I had never experienced before. Boarding the plane for the trip home, we walked up to the gate just after our group had finished boarding, and I walked past the line, straight to the front and boarded ahead of everyone still queuing for coach. A few people made comments like I guess they think they're more important than we are, which was pretty rude if you ask me. There was nothing wrong with it, we actually boarded later than we should have and couldn't put our bags in the reserved overhead space because it was filled. I used to be a flight attendant. People in coach complaining about the perks of first class happened on almost every flight. It got to the point where I would just straight up say yes, when you pay more you get more. For women, being straight up and telling a guy you are not interested/not interested anymore. For reference, I was briefly seeing someone at the start of the year, and while I thought it was going decently well, she eventually told me that she was at a point in her life where she was too busy with school/career ambitions to continue dating. While I was bummed out for a short while, I really appreciated that she was polite and direct in telling me that. Was she actually too busy to date? I don't know, it's not my business to know and it doesn't really matter. What matters is that she saved both of us time and effort just telling me she wasn't interested anymore. However, this only works as far as the other party is a rational actor. I can completely understand why people resort to ghosting, giving fake numbers, being indirect, etc., as the best case scenario for many women is the other party understanding and leaving them alone. The worst case scenario is that the other party becomes angry, aggressive, threatening, etc. Being polite is easy. A lot of people take it for being kind or nice. It's not. I can politely say no or even kick someone out of a store or even embarrass them. There was a guy who walked into one of my businesses the other day who wasn't wearing a mask. I let the employee go on break and handled the situation myself. He flat ignored her. She was very loud and assertive, but he ignored it. So I felt it best to speak with the man myself. He told me, "Oh, I have a medical condition." I told him, "I'm denying you service to my store, leave or stay and be arrested." He said he would sue me into the ground. I still kind of hoped he does.